I want to share with you an experience I had yesterday. I was on the phone with a client, a long-term client, and the service manager, we're going to call her Vanessa. And Vanessa is, she's struggling. She had to let go of several technicians this week and several CSRs, and they're running a skeleton crew. And as I was talking to her, she felt like she needed to put our coaching services on hold because we're a coaching company. We train people on how to take care of customers over the phone. And I suggested to her that she continue the coaching and not worry about payment, and that we'd float it for a while. And then I asked her, how are you? Because she was explaining all the things that she was doing and not how she was personally. And she said, not so great. And I said, look, we need to continue coaching. And not only are we going to coach your CSRs and your dispatchers, the ones that you still have, but I think, Vanessa, you also need to be coached as well. And she agreed and appreciated it, and we're moving forward together. So our goal is to meet you where you're at and to move forward in that direction. So let's talk about where you're at and where your team is at. Ben, you mind jumping to the next slide? Thank you. So as you can see here, our goal is to help our team. Your most valuable asset is your people. And we need to meet them where they're at emotionally. And if they're not doing well and they're worried about their own families, it's going to be very difficult for them to think about the customer. And so what we need to do for them is we need to give them some tools, quick tools that they can use to book every call that comes in. So let me give you an example. Customer gets on the phone and we want to find out where they're at. All right, from an emotional standpoint. Chances are they're very fragile. Chances are they're really concerned about the technician that needs to come out to their home because their system isn't working. They might have indoor air quality questions. They might have a system that's not working. They may not be concerned at all about what's going on with the virus. And our goal is to find out where they're at. And so how do you do that? You very simply begin the phone call, ask them to tell you more. It's a very powerful question. Tell me more. Tell me more about your situation, what's going on. And let them explain to you exactly where they're at. And then you show them that you care. That's not good. Again, our goal here with our CSRs is to find out where they're at. And if all they can do is follow a script at this time, because of where they're at emotionally, great. Give them these talking points. In the beginning of every phone call, the first 30 seconds. Remember, the first 30 seconds of the phone call actually determines the ultimate outcome of the call. So you've got to give them something to work with, especially if they're struggling right now. Tell me more. That's not good. I can help. See, these are the things that we need to provide for that customer. They need to know that we're listening. They need to know that we care about them. And they need to know that they've called the right place. So those are the things that we're doing for that customer, whether we're completely on our game or not as CSRs. Lastly, we want to customize the bill value statement. For those who aren't worried about the virus, it's very simple. We're going to send out a technician. He's trained, he's certified. He's back part company's been around for the last 30 years now. You're in great hands. He'll come out with a fully stocked truck. He'll look at the scope of the work. He'll determine exactly what needs to be fixed and give you a price before he starts. So it's very simple, very basic bill value. But what if they are concerned about the technicians coming out? We want to modify what we say in the bill value statement based on what that customer is concerned about. So if they're concerned about the technician, or they're concerned about social distancing, we can change it up. We can say what we're going to do is we're going to send out a technician. He's going to park out front. He's going to call you to let you know when he's there. He's going to put on booties and gloves and whatever else you've got to show that you want to do everything to keep them safe and secure. So we'll go into the house, just unlock the door, we'll go in the house, we'll go to the system, we'll find out what's going on, we'll come back out to our car and provide the diagnosis as well as your options to fix what's going on with your system. So regardless of where the customer's at, you can customize what you're doing for them and build value over the phone to book that call and wow that customer. Your goal is to be the only one they call. You are 911, there's no 912, help us on the way. Now, the best way to help your team, the most valuable asset you've got. For me, I've got 40 employees. When this whole thing came down, there was events that were canceled. There were some companies that were calling in wanting to put things on hold. And I told all of them, we're not letting go of anyone. Why? Because this is the most important time for us to be working with them. And even if we have to work for free, and in some cases we are doing so. And the goal is to provide the support. You want to help your CSRs, your team, get to the point where they can authentically help customers? Get them talking to the customer. Do happy calls. And in some situations, it's as simple as saying, how are you? How are things going? How can we help? If the calls aren't coming in, you need to be calling out. I agree with Jennifer. This is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to show your leadership. If you see that leaderships, it's the leaders that create cultures, that shape behaviors, that produce progress and prosperity. Here's what I mean by that. There is a commodity that circumstances like these that becomes very, very precious, more precious than gold. And that commodity is leaders who exemplify their principles. You guys, right now more than ever, your team is watching. They're watching you. And you're in a moment they'll never forget. And they will remember what you do in this moment forever. And based on how you respond to it, just like Jennifer said, you own your response. They will stay with you forever. And the customers they reach out to during those those happy calls, they also will stay with you forever. You've worked too hard, too long to lose what you've got. This is gonna pass. You're gonna beat this. We're gonna help you. And it is because of leadership. Be that precious commodity that people need right now. Exemplify the principles you teach, the principles that you believe in. Ben, if you don't mind, if you'll switch to the next slide. We put together a program, and Jennifer's right, it's all about adapting to this new market environment. And we are also adapting. We're going digital. And we're developing a program. It's a group consultative program where we coach as a team. And just go to powerslingpros.com/yourpeople. It'll show you all about it. But it's going to be digital group coaching for every company. This will give us the capacity to work with hundreds of companies. Guys, I encourage you to call us, especially if you're not doing so great as an organization. Let us help you. We have the capacity to do it. We have the team to do it, the trainers, the coaches, the call monitoring team. We can provide the support if you need it. Remember who you are. Remember how hard you worked to get to where you're at. Remember, this is a moment that your team and your customers will never forget. They will remember what you did long after what you said is forgotten in this situation. So be that leader, be that precious commodity.